Hello, welcome back to Kay's in the Garden. I'm Kay, and this is my garden. On today's video, we're just going to do a little maintenance around the garden. In our last video, we did our February garden tour, and I noticed quite a few things that I wanted to clean up in the garden. There are some things that we need to remove and just kind of tidy up a little bit. When we get closer to spring, there's going to be a lot to do in the garden. There's going to be amending the beds. We're going to be pulling weeds, and we're going to be planting. And so I want to take this time just to do a little cleanup and a little beautification. Some of the things you may notice around the garden, little odds and ends that I like to add. If you notice along the fence behind me here, I have some little teacups that I added on that trellis behind there along the fence. I also have a few things around the garden, which I'll kind of point out as we're going through. But I'm also going to be adding some things today. For example, I found these cute little candle holders, which I won't utilize. I'll probably actually take the candle holder part off and just hang this piece along the fence. What I like about this and what drew my attention to these is that the little crystals that are on here, during the summer, you get a lot of birds that will kind of, especially around our blueberries and our blackberries and tomatoes, you'll get a lot of birds that will kind of peck at the fruit. So I am hoping that the reflection of the sun will kind of deter them from the garden. And though I like the birds to remove some of the pests, if they see any of the caterpillars or the hornworms, that's great. But if they don't see any of those things, then they will eat the fruit. So I like to do things that are really pretty and will help deter some of the pests. So, and though birds are probably not considered pests, they can be depending on what you're talking about. So I don't want to harm them. We tried different things like a bird feeder. We put a bird feeder because we were thinking maybe they will eat the bird feed and not eat the fruit. But that wasn't 100% successful, and the bird seed just kind of clumped up and they didn't really eat the seeds. Combination of two, I get something really pretty, and then I also get something that may help deter birds. So let's go get to it. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's pretty to me. Oh, there's a lot of weeds that need to be pulled out of this bed. I'm just going to pull out the peas. I have my handy dandy bucket with me, as we're probably going to have quite a bit that we are pulling out. There are several pods, as you can see here on the plant. There are seeds in there that we can save for next year's planting. There's quite a bit of weeds in this bed, but I won't really just try to get weeds out right now. We'll get those at another time. Though it rained yesterday and the soil is really loose, it'd be really easy for me to go ahead and tackle this today, but I don't have the time for it. So we're just gonna use my garden map and pull a few. And one of the things I'll do is once I get everything harvested out of this bed, I will use the rake to get out everything. Looking at this comfrey, there's a lot of dead leaves that could be cleaned up. And honestly, I'm just going to make a pile of this because I'm going to add it to comfrey tea. I actually purchased this comfrey from a seller on Etsy. And when I got it, they were little pieces of what looked like bark. And her instructions were very clear and simple. Just plant them, and in a couple weeks, I should start seeing comfrey. I was thinking, oh man, I got ripped off. I didn't think that was going to work. Well, felt like a few days, and I had comfrey growing. And I didn't know how it would grow. I just planted it, and I was trying to do a border along the back of this area, and it filled in pretty good. Even if I compost some of this, it'll be fine because it'll break down in the compost, which will also get back into the soil. You know, I also have strawberries in this bed. And I see I moved some of the strawberries in this bed over in this section here. And I can see that I missed some underneath this comfrey plant. I'm trying to do a really hard pruning of this comfrey because it grows very fast. Okay, let me just take a closer look at this bed. Because you can see we've pruned, you probably can't tell because there's a lot in the background there, but we've taken a lot of that comfrey, and give it like a week, it will be back. But you can see there's some strawberries right about there. I'm going to pull those and I'll move them more into the center part of the bed. That looks better. In these two containers, I already have some comfrey breaking down. And this one was pretty much all broken down. You didn't have any signs of comfrey in it. I should have had these open yesterday when it rained. But you just take the comfrey and you just immerse it into the water. Rainwater is best. If you don't have rainwater, water from your hydrant is fine. Okay. And do the same with this one. This one hadn't completely broken down yet. And usually I have these containers full of water. If I would have had them open yesterday, it would have been full. Now, I will tell you, if it's continuing to break down like this one is, it does have a smell. Okay. I'm going to leave those lids off for now. I'm going to check the forecast and see if we have any more rain. In this turnip bed, usually a lot of people will, when they're taking their plants out, they will let them compost in place. I don't tend to do that. I feel like it clogs up my soil. And I like to keep my soil nice and loose. So I'm going to pull those out. And I think I have one on the other side. So let's move to the other side. Yep, there's two over here. I want to save the soil. I don't want to throw that away. But I don't necessarily need the weeds or the roots. Again, if you want to leave the roots, you're more than welcome to, because it will eventually break down to organic matter in your soil. But I usually will add leaves. You've seen in previous videos where I will just take leaves and I will add it into the soil. That's much better to break down. It's quicker to break down. And then there's no signs of it afterwards. There are some things, like in this bed, that I don't want to add to compost that I will just actually throw away. So these are dry remains of my dahlia flowers. I'm just going to cut this back to the soil. And in the spring, these will bloom again. Okay, the same thing with the lilies. Just going to cut these back to the soil. This is a coleus that didn't make it. This is a foxtail fern that I am going to leave because it will grow back. I'm not really ready to cut back my rose bush, but I do want to pull these flowers that died during the cold. I really need to find the name of these flowers. This year I noticed they were perennials and they actually grew back on their own.